last June that we had. That is if there was even a subsidy. But of course there's a subsidy because the removal actually opened the eyes of Nigerians to what is happening now and what we are experiencing. So of course there was, but it was because it was not well managed. So if we look at it, that pronouncement itself is another insecurity. That pronouncement has sacked that innocent young secretary in an office. That pronouncement has even sacked that young bankers because people could not meet up, so they have to call what we call redundancy in certain sectors. And these people are, actually giving them some rest from work to equally have dependency rate. And in Nigeria today, an average dependency rate should be around like 8. You, your family, your wife, your mother-in-law, your father-in-law, your mother, and that other young guy or that widow you decide to help around the neighborhood. This actually, when you are being relieved of this job, these other people are actually having the setback because they are suffering. So I would have made that pronouncement. I would have equally made my former economic team before making some policies. So today you see our monetary and fiscal policies are not aligning. Someone is just here, the one is going here, another one is going there because of the policies of government. You understand it? So, and again, the removal of the subsidy, actually, yes, Nigerians are actually saying is the best, but it was the process. You would have even said, okay, from
Nigerians were saying is the best.
At the initial time,
are they still saying is the best?
No longer at this point, because I have seen that the removal was that with the hope that in a short while there will be, some kind of relief. Because what we are expected of the president is not just to go and build new refineries. It is just to have a turnaround maintenance of the refinery staff. And that shouldn't take much time. Like I come here, this is not to build a new table here, but just to tell you that the north here is bad. It's for me to get to the market, bring it, and then fix it back. So it shouldn't take much time. Since we are not paying subsidy, I think the money that we have actually saved for this subsidy should be enough to carry out the turnaround maintenance of the refineries. Not taking it too long, and that there were no sequences of these policies, to be sincere. So Mr. President actually, to me, at the first instance misfired. He should have actually seek for a more professional way or a more democratic way that will favor Nigerians. Being one of the most experienced president we've had so far, Nigerians are actually counting on him so much. But with what Nigerians are going through now, it's actually making his administration so unpopular to say. So I think there should be more policies to see how he can actually win the hearts of Nigerians, and also give them hope that the renewed hope, as say, should actually be renewed hope and not the other way around.
Okay, we are talking about the sufferings of Nigerians because of this, the removal of this subsidy. But we are also aware that as we speak now, state governors are receiving 5 billion naira. They receive 5 billion naira to distribute to Nigerians as palliative and trucks of rice, which currently the distribution is ongoing. So, is that not a step?
Well, today we've never had any state governor that have come out to say they received 5 billion naira. The highest I've had is that they've received 2 billion naira at the first instance.
What we had was 5 billion.
Yes, we had, but including the FCT minister, I think I've heard from him that there's a plan to give the 5 billion. However, about 2.something billion have received so far. But that to me is a waste of resources.
How is it a waste?
I say it's a waste of resources. It was not well thought out. You don't actually borrow to consume. Any nation that begins to borrow for the sake of consumption is heading to its debt. It does not work that way. To me, we have from the past administration. Today we are seeing Mr. President or hearing Mr. President giving out marching orders that they should retrieve the the loan, the anchor borrowers programs and all of that given to people. What is the repayment rate? Almost 70% are not even bringing back the money. Now, you still fall to this line. We had the previous administration give bailout funds to governors, to state governors. Even at the inside of the height of insecurity, they were giving out billions of naira to state governors. How are that affect the change, positive change to the current situations? You see, it's like it makes it more lucrative that when an internal revenue of a state cannot even take care of the state, then you begin to wonder what actually should the governor of the state be doing in the city or should be doing in the state. You see, some of these governors are not even living in the state. They are all living in Abuja. They have their houses in Abuja. Just at every weekend they are here, or sometimes they assign their deputies to do the job. So because they are not in the state and they keep getting these allowances from the federal government, they are not really in the state to work, because they are sure that at the end of every month money is coming. Exactly. And then again, do this money actually get down to the core poor? That is a question that we should be asking. I saw on the TV, and so embarrassing, how noodles of rice were put to distribution, and you know how 5 bags of rice are even sent to local government and wards to distribution. That is,
I don't get it. 5 bags of rice per person.
No,
for an entire local government.
Yes, and even wards for distribution. Is that not an insult? So where would that? Look in your house, with a bag of rice take you for 3-4 months, considering your dependency rate, then you can give 1 noodle of rice to that aged woman, that young woman, and all of that share. That's not insulting. So is that actually, solving the problem, or you are creating the problem? Because people will feel like you are insulting. When they hear the 5 billion, it's so big. So for you to be bringing about just 5 bags of rice to local government, to a wall.
There's the money in one part. Then there's the food, as in there's the rice.
You didn't get it from the beneficiaries of those things. If you get it, it's okay. Take from instance. Today we are having inflation about 22%.
Now let's take for example that you're giving rice. You're giving rice. Then you're not giving money.
No. 3 cubes of Maggi, and then 1,000 naira to go and take care of yourself. And this you have done, you have to yourself solve a problem. So how long to what extent have you solved the problem? It's not like they say it's what I have witnessed. It is even on the public domain. It's on the TV. You are a journalist, so you may have come across it where they are distributing this. Even on the television. So how do the international communities rate us as a people, as a nation? So I really don't actually see, and this is when actually I don't want to dabble into that, but I think one of the responsibilities of even the ECOWAS that are equally going around today to talk about coups is one of the responsibilities, because by economic challenges, of the West African state. So what actually is happening to Nigeria should be consigned to ECOWAS as a country, as a committee.
Of course it is. We should know that it is.
I don't really know.
But right now ECOWAS is dealing with a bigger problem. It's a bigger problem. So for now,
dear Charity, these are some of the little problems that is neglected to resolve it.
Yes, exactly. But for now, there's a bigger problem. So, but we know that every member state, it concerns, and everything is captured by the ECOWAS to be addressed as this one. So we know that this definitely is on the table.
Well, let's hope so.
Okay, what should have been the approach?
Okay, now I think there should be a policy sequencing. Do you understand? Just like Nigerians were complaining the other time about the change of Naira and the redesign and all of that, that did not actually merge. So the policy sequencing, in the sense that one policy should dovetail the other, but at a time, removal of subsidy, and you will bring in distributions of 5 billion naira, that is itself to people a scam. And
no, it's not a scam because
you know why people are putting that as a scam?
No, it is not a scam because governors have attested to the fact that they have received at least part of that money.
That's what I said.
So it's not a
Nigerians. No, that's why I said
it is not a scam.
Okay, from the center.
It is not a scam. So maybe the scam will be
centralized
at the state level.
Structures in all the over centralized structures is a problem. When there's a committee set to go down to the rural communities and ask that poor woman, that widow, that orphan, that young graduate that have just been sacked, or that other young lady that is not having business, go and ask them questions and then say, how much have you collected from this so-called fuel subsidy to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy. Go and ask them questions. We can't be here and I will tell you that this is a scam. You say no until you have the statistics that truly these people are not getting the money, and that president have to set a committee as a matter of urgency to go around the states, go around the rural communities and to ask them questions. How truly have they gotten the money? What forms are there to fill? Even during the COVID-19, we saw how some persons are even getting alerts like they are working somewhere outside this world. So because of who they know, they're getting alerts on weekly basis. When those are supposed to get the alerts are not there. We had the market, the traders' money, where even the vice president had to stoop low to go to the market, traders' money to distribute 5,000 naira. It's so insulting.
No.
What effect?
That trader's money.
How effective?
You know why? You cannot say it's insulting. Why? Because of course because some of us actually went round and we spoke to these people that were the beneficiaries. Those that were given that 5,000 naira were petty traders.
Okay.
And yes, and they attested to the fact that it actually helped them in their business. So if somebody has a petty trader, of course, if a petty trader has a business that the capital is within 10,000, 5,000, and the person has additional 5,000, is something to build on.
Well,
that was for business.
Really build on that, considering the economic reality, because you can't have an economy in you can't have an inflation in two-digit form, and then you are saying that 5,000 naira is enough to start up a petty trade or something. Let me ask you.
It was to boost, not to start. It was to boost.
You want to boost something.
That's what I'm telling you.
When you want to boost something, the power to boost that thing should be higher than the initial power. No. When you're now boosting and you're only dimming the light, I think you're only dimming and not boosting. No, you cannot create a problems and claim to be innocent or have a peaceful society.
Now,
if you
now
you're not bringing you're bringing the 5,000, you can't start the market.
Like I said, no. That particular trader money was focused on petty traders, and they received their money. They received their money because we went and we spoke to people, and that we can say yes. And that has those who collected the money
solved the problem.
They received their money to the extent, but it's not the same as the person who, like you said, that because he knows somebody that is receiving alerts.
Yes.
So these are two different
But I think that for a nation, because at that time we keep borrowing, and even now. Okay, fine. Since you have made a case for them, let me make this.
No, it's not making a case for them. No, it's not making a case for them. It is what actually transpired.
It's a case per se, but let me see. In the current sharing formula, where God forgive us, we have a Senate president that actually said, "I have sent money." And even mentioned some amount, and then unfortunately I come in charity, and then actually reverse back to sending prayers to neighbors.
Now,
how many Nigerians?
Now, he didn't say.
Well,
the Senate president did not say he was sending money. He said the clerk.
Yes, I've directed the clerk of the house.
No, he said the clerk of the National Assembly will send. That
send what? Okay, continue.
No, they were going on recess.
Okay.
And you and I know that money, whatever it is that was being sent to them, is something that it was their right.
Wait,
they worked for it.
Okay, so it's your right. You don't need to twisting the language.
No. Why is
twisting the language?
Why is that? No, that one came because senators were complaining. Why are you saying this on camera? Camera.
I mean, NLC is talking about strike. It is based on what they felt it is their right, charity.
Exactly.
It is your right. If my salary is 500,000 and it is my right, asking me on the television, national television, I will tell you it is my right. And my pay is just a
It could be for security reasons.
I really don't need to say if it's for security reasons.
It could be for security reasons. People are being kidnapped everywhere. Even mentioning this 500,000 naira.
Whatever you feel is going to create an insecurity shouldn't have even come up in the first place. So if you feel that you take him a 2 million naira just to go and rest, or a 3 million naira,
I can see that you're offered. Okay, now let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back to this 2.5 million. No, seriously, the 2.5 billion and the rise, because Nigerians are worried that this particular path was told during the COVID-19, and we saw what happened later.
Yes, it's not actually supposed to be, because actually, if for you to be sincere in this sharing formula, we are estimated over 200 million Nigerians, and I understand that in every nation there are first among equals. Now take it good that you have these people, set of people you give this money. Why don't you direct the CBN? The CBN have the data of Nigerians, true Nigerians living in Nigeria, and that you can even send the money directly to their bank accounts without the state governors. For the sake of clarity, for the sake of the true democrat that you are, so that this money, the disbursement process will be done, from one shop, in the sense of from the central bank. This money are directly sent to Nigerians. And so what you need to get Nigerians doing is that you have your bank, you have the BVN, so there will be no need sending two different accounts for just one individual. So that is the essence of the BVN, to link these accounts just to one individual. So if it's sent directly to Nigerians using the states, so using the CBN, it makes it more easier that you can be trusted without even pointing any fingers to any government.
But the state governors wouldn't hear of it.
How will the state governors not hear of it?
They wanted the money.
I don't know, especially Nigerians, and in Nigeria, I don't know Nigerians, then we also get the part of the money because they're equally Nigerians. But the issue here is that because people, is this bureaucracy that have created a lot of problems. Why do you need to go through state government? And then the question is that you need to ask yourself questions. Over the years, has this truly benefited Nigerians? This is the question. They're talking about how to get some vehicles to cushion the effect of the subsidy and all of that, or the removal of subsidy.
That is a major answer.
I will ask yourself, the vehicles that are all around Kubwa Axis, if you're traveling here, just here, all the Aerofire buses dumped there. What was the end product of these buses?
Actually, the new minister of FCT has been asking about those buses.
Oh, really? So in my opinion, there is no true cause. The Nigerianness in us is not actually working to an extent where we actually want to solve the problems. So what we are doing is creating rent
So are you saying, no, now you've delved into the transport sector.
Yes.
So are you saying we shouldn't have buses, mass transit, to cushion the effect of this fuel subsidy removal?
You see,
because when those buses were bought,
yes,
that was during the time of the former minister,
yes,
Malam Nasir El-Rufai, we saw how far they were able to help. Because at that time, because before those buses came, the London taxi and the Sienas, these commercial taxi drivers, they are virtually cutting people's throats.
Okay, let me say.
But with those buses, there was some kind of respite, and even then they were forced to beat down the the transport fare.
It is our sense of wastefulness that is actually the problems. You know, because the other time we talked about we should cut down the cost of governance as to one of the reasons why a lot of problems are coming. Now, if, like I mentioned, that our policies or there's no policy sequencing, that one is not doing the other. Now you are aware that there is no provision for subsidy, and so you're not going to pay from June. What will you do? Fellow Nigerians, effective from June 30th, I will make a tentative arrangements with the independent marketers to see how we can be able to just pay some level of subsidy for you, but not 100%. Probably we will pay the consumption, because in subsidy there's two phases. There's what we call the consumption subsidy and the production subsidy. So, for your consumption subsidy, we will pay for the next 3 months, probably from June, July, August, and September. Now, in this period, during this period, what will you do? See how you can go and bring back these El-Rufai buses, fix them and put them in order, and then so you can distribute to states, including the Federal Capital Territory. So when they have enough, because one thing that brings about the inflation is scarcity. When there's enough to move around the city centers, then you can say, gentlemen, for our station buses, you can board from here, and we have enough. So therefore, we will not be able to pay for the direct subsidy concession, because already we will be paying those our drivers, and they will not carry you from one route or to the other more than 50 naira. Nigerians will clap for you. Well done, sir. Well done, sir. So you're already paying the drivers, and again, not forgetting the cost of transportation in terms of the fuel you buy into these buses. So even if you have to do anything by giving money to states, all you need to do is that special committee or a ministry that is in charge, or ministry of transportation that is in charge of the consumption in terms of the fuel that they consume across the states, then you now pay to them directly, and then see how they will be able to fuel those buses directly without even any what they call direct payment to any state governor. And that's enough. That alone would have solved the problem. The money you have to go and start paying, buying new buses, where these other buses can still be brought back to life, is the problem. And this is why I say our sense of wisdom is a reason why we have not actually getting anything out of it. So I really don't see why we are not going to buy new buses when these other buses are on grants for either for repairs or other things. So this is why I say our policies are not actually simple.
Well, Jonathan, I'll have to cut you through, because we've come to the end of our discussion today. As interesting as it is, we have to end it here now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Personally, I will always be engaged in any discussion that will foster peace, solutions to our national problem. So thank you for having me on.
Thank you very much for being part of the program. Philip from our Benin Center is on standby waiting for me. So Philip, it's over to you now.